Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my second predictions video leading up to Season 6 of Game of Thrones. Okay, and I do want to say a spoiler warning if you guys haven't seen the finale for Game of Thrones Season 5 yet. I did my review. I'll post a link in the description. If you guys haven't seen my review for the finale yet, definitely want to check that out. And yeah, so spoiler warning for that if you haven't seen it. But in this one, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones Season 6 and, doing some character predictions, doing some predictions for what I think is going to happen at the beginning of the seasons. What I think is going to happen, in the premiere, and what I think will happen with the characters as we go on through. Now, this isn't really spoilers, for next season because we don't know what's going to happen next season. There's no, in terms of the books, basically, we've gotten to the point now where pretty much all around, for the most part, if you look at the grand part of Game of Thrones, Season 5 and onward, they have really started to reinvent a lot of things and adapt them differently than they were doing earlier, which was kind of more of a straight adaptation. The Game of Thrones TV series is a lot different from A Song of Ice and Fire. That said, if you guys haven't entered the giveaway yet for the Khal Drogo figure from the HBO store, go to the review and you can write a comment. You have to be subscribed for it, and you can enter the giveaway for this week. And thank you very much to the HBO store for that. So for this one, we already touched on Jon Snow. We already touched on, what we think is going to happen with Jon. I think that's the biggest question. So that one was an independent video. I'll also put the link to that in the description. Basically, the idea is that, he's dead at this time. It looks like it right now. He's totally dead right now. Doesn't seem to be any way he would come back from that of natural causes, any way he would survive that. But, Melisandre is there at, Castle Black, and it is possible that she could, resurrect him just like Thoros Amir did with Beric Dondarrion. So that's a possibility. But if you want to hear my thoughts on that entirely, go to that video. It's in the channel right now, and I'll put the link in the description to it, just to hear my thoughts on predictions for what I think is going to happen with Jon in Season 6. So in this one, Season 6 for the rest of the characters, man, this show is so hard to try to do predictions for because it is so unpredictable. You have character deaths that kind of happen out of nowhere, and you have all kinds of different crazy things happening, and lately a lot of it differing from the books quite a bit. Different character concentrations, different, things that are happening compared to how they did in A Song of Ice and Fire. So let's start off with Daenerys, because I think the Daenerys team, or the Daenerys side of things, is our most prominent kind of good team in terms of ethics, in terms of morals. Daenerys is kind of like our unsung hero. Tyrion is too, of Game of Thrones. She's basically the hero of the series, I want to say. At least at this point, my predictions are I think she's going to be kind of our one to root for, so to speak, versus all the others. You have the Boltons, you have the evil that's going on there. Now we even hate the Night's Watch and what's going on with them. The White Walkers are the undead. So some people are saying in the comments they want to see the White Walkers defeat, Castle Black, defeat the Night's Watch because they hate them so much. You could root for the Wildlings, I guess. But in terms of which characters do you like, which sides are you rooting for, which houses they used to be, now they're more just kind of like factions. Which factions are you rooting for? I'm personally rooting for Daenerys and, Tyrion, of course, on her team. Jorah is still there for a little while, at least. And, Grey Worm and the others, the dragons and everything. Still rooting for Daenerys. I still think that the series will end, probably. This is a big prediction. I could be totally wrong, with Daenerys, with Tyrion's help and the others. Doing it and basically conquering Westeros and becoming, queen overall. Even though they regard her as queen right now, Meereen, the overall queen of everything, basically. So that's the idea, and that's kind of my predictions of what we'll see with that story. So that story being in Meereen, eventually with the Dothraki, I'm sure she'll find her way back to Meereen, even though it could take a while. But in the meantime, you've got Varys there, you've got Tyrion, and, those two together, Varys being able to find out all the information that Tyrion's going to need, Tyrion using his mind as a thinker, strategy to, make good decisions there. I think she's in a better spot there than personally doing it herself. Tyrion is brilliant. So, yeah, really excited to see what happens with that, and more Tyrion being on the good side rather than him kind of being with the rest of his family, which is not good, obviously, at this point. So, with that, I think we're going to see, in season 6, Daenerys come back and meet with the others eventually. It may take a little while, maybe a few episodes or something, but eventually I'm sure she'll find a way back, and Tyrion, everything will be not great, but a lot of what we've seen so far. Sons of the Heartbeat, Tyrion, them dealing with that, and possibly look towards starting to make the shift towards Westeros as season 6 goes through to 7, and of course we may get a season 8 too. It sounds like HBO is probably going for 8 seasons with the series. So I think those are my general predictions. So I think it's going to happen with that. Again, these are just predictions. These could be totally wrong. These are just what I think is going to happen. And you guys can also write your comments below. So write what you think about Daenerys and her faction, her team. That's the team I'm rooting for now. Targaryen, that's what I'm rooting for with her. Tyrion and the others. They're my kind of no one else to root for me anymore, really, in terms of who will win, kind of, even though there isn't really still that war of 5 kings, but there's still kind of a power, there's always a power struggle, right? There always is. So yeah, that's in terms of her. In terms of the Boltons, what are they going to do with them? Like, they're one of our really bad factions, one of our characters that we hate the most at Winterfell, of course, and then you've got Castle Black, those the Night's Watch there, who we hate now too. What are they going to do with the Boltons? That's like, who the hell knows? Eventually, we'd like to see them get their comeuppance. Eventually, we'd like to see somebody get revenge on them for all the shit they've done. Will we have to wait for it to be Daenerys, or will somebody else do it in the meantime? I don't see any other threats really at this current time to them right now in that area, and I don't think we may never see the Blackfish again in the TV series version, unless Sansa, somehow her and Reek survive that fall, which they jump off. In real life, as I said in my review, you probably wouldn't survive that, to be honest with you, jumping off that. But I think the idea is that it's snow and that they're able to maybe jump in the snow and the snow will cushion them. So I don't see them dying that way. Some people are confused about it in the comments. Did they commit suicide, or are they going to survive? My guess, my way of looking at it is they're going to survive probably. That's my prediction for it. But in real life, I will say that probably that fall would kill you for sure. Even if there's snow, that fall would still break your bones. That was too high. As a human being, you can't jump off of anything that high. You break your everything, and it's not like there's anyone coming to help them in terms of that. Anyway, there's no doctors on staff ready to help them if they break both their legs or something. They'll just be lying there in excruciating pain and die, right? Obviously, unless Ramsay and the others find them and just torture them to death anyway for what they did. Because Miranda's dead now, of course, too, thanks to Reek, right? So Brienne is in that vicinity, though. So my prediction for that is I think those two are probably going to find Brienne. She's in the brush. They're going to head for the brush anyway, because they don't, on horseback, they're going to catch you if they could see you in the open. You go into the brush, you go into the trees, and you're not as easily found, and Brienne was last seen there with Stannis. Some people confused. Did she kill Stannis? Did she not? It was off screen. Knowing her as a character, my interpretation is that she killed Stannis. She loved Renly beyond everything. She was devoted to him to serve, and having the opportunity to kill Stannis, I don't think she would take pity on him. I think she killed him. That's it. I think it's just an off-screen death. At least that's, again, my prediction. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So my idea is, or this is what I think. I think Sansa and Reek will find Brienne. They'll get the hell out of there and go who knows where. Maybe this is where the Blackfish could come back in if he's got any castle still, or even a fort. Maybe not a castle, but like a fort in the Riverlands. Maybe they can head to or something. Who knows? We'll have to see what happens with that. Again, that's too far ahead. But I think for the meantime, at least for a little while, that's what's going to happen. And we got to see Baelish again soon, too. We talk about those two. Baelish has got to be in and around, scheming somewhere, right? So, causing all this chaos and just insanity. Got to be there somewhere. Right, so that's what I think is going to happen with Sansa. And again, we'll have to see what happens with the Boltons later on and who kind of comes up to be their, their kind of versus now that Stannis has been defeated at the hands of them. Man, sucks. I really wanted Stannis to win that before he burnt his daughter alive, Crazy. So, okay, so there's all that, and then we have Cersei. So let's talk about King's Landing, let's talk about Cersei, let's talk about Jaime, let's do some predictions for that. So now that they have made her do the walk of shame, thinking about shame. Just over and over again like a machine. The lady's a machine. Shame, shame, shame. Okay, enough of that. But what's going to happen with Cersei? Well, knowing Cersei, the character of Cersei, she's going to want to annihilate all of them. You know, she's got her Frankenstein now, Robert Strong. She's just going to want to take all of her forces as soon as she can, Lannister men, and annihilate them. Is she going to be able to? You have Kevin there as well, and he doesn't like her, and we know that. He hates her, right? And he has been named Two-Hand of the King at this time. A lot of it will depend on how Tommen acts in this situation, too. You've got Marjorie in there, too, and I'm really looking to see some nice politics coming up. You see, Cersei obviously wants to get revenge for what they did, her feat, and, the embarrassment of being shown naked in front of the whole city and guys showing them their you-know-whats and throwing stuff at her and calling her a whore and all this stuff. She's going to want to kill the High Sparrow for sure. She's going to want to annihilate them all. But if Kevin says, no, you can't do that, you're crazy, they're the faith, whatever, and not allow her to use her men or do anything of the sort, it could be interesting. Plus, keep in mind that Lancel is, I believe, isn't he Kevin's son? Isn't he? Or his cousin, right? Cousin. So that's her cousin. So her dad's uncle or her dad's brother would be her uncle, and then their son. Right? So how is Kevin going to feel? He's Hand of the King. He knows what she did to Lancel. And, how is he going to respond to... At least I think Lancel is his son. Is he not? I could be wrong about that. I could be. But still, how's he going to feel about that? And he just generally doesn't like her anyway. So even if Lancel isn't, doesn't really matter, because generally what you're looking at is the two don't like each other. They hate each other. And you've got Tommen mixed in there. Is she going to have any power left? When Jaime returns, what's going to happen with him? How's he going to get along with Kevin? And, what will happen with that? Will Varys intervene? Will they, the two start to fight between the power at King's Landing and, eventually Daenerys, Tyrion, and the others? If she hears that, Tyrion is now with Daenerys. Crazy stuff, right? We'll have to see what happens with all of that. It's all such an unknown. But at least for right now, she's going to want to get revenge on the High Sparrow for what he did, at least. And, she may not be able to. We'll see what happens, because he's got some power now. He's got his own place. He's got, quite a few men. And, we'll see if maybe she can six Robert Strong on them or what happens with her. It should be interesting. So can't wait to see that. Can't make too many predictions with that because there's too many unknowns. But I am excited to see what they do with that kind of, the rat's nest at King's Landing, with the power and who's where, Tommen, and will he listen to his mom? Will she just go to Casterly Rock? And how is Jaime going to respond when he gets back and Marcella's dead? Wow, craziness, man. Absolutely crazy stuff. So enemies all around her, and really looking forward to seeing what happens at King's Landing. King's Landing is always a hot spot for some fun stuff. Once Jaime eventually returns, I'm most interested to see what's he going to do when he finds out about all this, and just what's going to happen with that. Now, a lot different than the book version where you had different events with him going to Dorne instead. Okay, cool. So there's all of that, and I think that's pretty much all I can really say about about predictions for what's going to happen. The rest is all unknowns. Will we see maybe a new point of view character? It depends on what happens with Jon. A lot of it. If he gets resurrected, what's he going to do? Where's he going to go? It's really tough questions, man. I'm really excited to see how they write this in and how much it differs from the books as the books get released. And we're not exactly sure. They're both going to be different. Both versions completely different, or at least a good portion of them different, even though the TV series may know some things about what's going to happen in the books later on. They're going to have to go their own way too, because I'm sure they won't know every single detail. So, yeah. So there it is. That's kind of what I think in terms of predictions. Also excited to see, are we going to see Tormund again? Are we going to see, maybe a wildling resistance and maybe have the wildlings take over Castle Black? Because I think they, with their giant and everything, unless the Night's Watch outsmarts them, if they find out that they killed Jon, maybe the wildlings could take Castle Black from the inside, now that they're in, right? If they have their weapons in that. But it's hard to say what's going to happen with that too. So that's basically all my predictions for next season for Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 1, and also just on throughout the season. Check out the Jon Snow predictions video if you guys want to see that. And that's as much as I can say for now. The rest is all the big Unknown. Let me know what you guys think. Write your predictions below on what you think is going to happen. And if you like the video, please thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, please share it. Please favorite it. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one, guys. If you have any questions, I want to do a Q&A after seeing Season 5. This is so amazing. Private message them to me or write them in the comments below, and I'll probably do a Game of Thrones Q&A this week. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another Game of Thrones video, and of course all the Walking Dead videos and usual stuff. So always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace.